So reduce image file size, reduce PDF size. We can use View to do that. We could also use I love PDF. We could use I love PDF to do that, or we could use Photoshop or Adobe Pro. Of course, these are not free, so some of us may not have these. But everyone can get View who has a PC, and anyone who has internet connection can use I love PDF. So let's look at a quick example of how we would do that. So let's imagine that we had a PDF, and in this case I'm going to actually use, let's say that it is a urban study, right? So this particular urban study that was done by CSA students, the file size is 133 megabytes. So right away, if you wanted to attach this file to Miro Board, it's going to say that, well, this file is too big, so you would have to compress it. All right. Now, in order to compress it, we could use the ilovepdf.com, or we could use View application to do that. But the recommended one is going to be I love PDF because it is way easier. Now, the great news with using I love PDF is that you don't have to download this PDF to your computer in order to now upload it to I love PDF for compression. When you go to compress PDF, you can actually just click this little select PDF from Google Drive. It will ask you to give permission to connect to your Google Drive. So in this case, I'm going to connect to this Gmail address. And then it's going to show you all the recent PDF that was accessed. Now I could just search for it here, Midtown, there it is, and I can choose, do I want extreme compression, recommended, or less, or to get a high quality compression. So I'm going to choose the recommended compression. That's usually the recommended one. Usually extreme compression, you would lose too much detail. So I'm going to choose this one and choose compressed PDF. It's going to say getting files from drive. Now all of this is going to depend on your internet speed, right? So we're going to just give it a little while and see how long this takes. I'm going to pause the video so we don't have to wait. So as you can see here, it said that your file is now 81% larger. It was 133 megabytes and now it's 26 megabytes. 26 megabytes is still a bit close to the 30 megabyte limit, but it should work just fine. And then you can see that it automatically downloaded the compressed file. So this compressed file, I can actually just drag that over onto my Miro board, and you can see it's just being loaded there. And there we go. Now the PDF is loaded. Now, one thing with PDFs, whenever you're viewing them on Miro Board, so I'm on Miro Board now, you might zoom in and it might look a little blurry. You need to give it a little while for it to clear up. Now, once the PDF is there, I would now need to place it on the board. So for example, let's say that this PDF was, let's say, originally a tabloid size sheet. Then what I would do is I would just make sure that it's fairly matching the recommended size for tabloid, and I can just ungroup this here, and I can delete this here and delete that there. Now when you place a PDF on the Miro board, when you click on it, if you notice, in this corner right here, I'm able to actually switch between page 1 and page 199. So you realize that this PDF actually has 199 pages, right? So I can go next, and then you need to give it a little while for it to update, right? So this is a bit it takes a couple seconds, but there we go. We're skipping through the different images, the different pages of the PDFs. There we go. Additionally, I can re-download this PDF, or I can actually extract pages from this PDF. So for example, let's say that page 9 was of importance, then I could just click extract page and say 9 and choose extract, and it will actually extract page 9 from this PDF right here, right? They are still linked to the same PDF, but it's just that I've extracted this page, right? So that is just a quick example of how you would compress a PDF. Now, on the topic of PDFs, there might also be cases where we might need to extract pages from a PDF, maybe as a JPEG or as an image. Usually, of course, you can do that by using Adobe Acrobat, right? If you need to add or remove pages, it's probably the best one to use. However, you can also use I Love PDF to do this, and it's very similar to what we tried earlier. When we go to I Love PDF, we would simply go to the merge, combine PDFs in the order that you want, and you would select the same way. You would go to Google Drive and select the PDF document that you want to merge. So let's do that now. Let's go to Google Drive. We're going to give it permission again to access the Google Drive. I'm going to select another student work here, and then I'm going to select I'm going to select these. I'm going to select this one first. Then I'm going to add more. So I'm going to go add more files. As a matter of fact, this time let's try and add one. Let's try and upload from computer. And I'm actually going to choose, let's say that I want to merge it with this PDF. Okay, there we go. So we have two PDFs here, right? One is actually 109 pages and one is 6 pages. Now, if I wanted to split the PDF, then I would go to split PDF first, and then after I've split it, then I would merge the pages that I would want to merge, and I would go through the same process again, right? So, okay, let's try split PDF this time around. And I'm gonna pick this PDF from the cloud. And you can see where I can extract pages from the PDF. I can extract all pages, or I can select the individual pages. So I can say, give me from page 1 to page 5. So in this case, let me extract page 1 to let's do page 1 to page 3. And let's go to split PDF. It's now splitting. It has now been split. And there we go. So we've gotten a compressed file. So this is a zip file. So I can actually open that here. And we can see where these are now individual pages. So if I open this in Acrobat here, you will see that I have one page here, and if I open this one, you will see I have a second page here, right? So that is just a quick example of how you would split. And merge PDF would be the exact same thing, where we could now merge the PDF that we have just split into a single PDF file, and then we would hit download, and the process would be pretty similar. If we wanted to now extract pages from a PDF, we could also use I Love PDF, and this time we would go to PDF to JPEG. We would select the PDF file, and it's a similar process. We just export the PDF directly to a JPEG. Now keep in mind that I Love PDF is an online platform, so you will need the internet in order to do all of these things. Your upload and download speed will matter.